This is a continuation of Chapter 9 around campaigns and voting, and the political structure. On the national level, you have a Democratic National Committee and you have a Republican National Committee. So during this time, you'll see a lot of DNC ads paid for by the DNC, paid for by the RNC, and these are political ads to pump up their candidate, not just the president, but even on a local level. Each party has a party chair. They're in charge of the convention that usually happens. I mean, the conventions were different this year because of COVID, but they still had them. On a local level, you have the same sort of structure. And where the most things happen is on a local level, at your local level of government. So our parties are created to help promote change, to create some kind of stability, to provide services, which means they have to organize the money. Because as I stated, it costs a lot of money now to be in politics, to run a campaign. They help the party formulate their platform. So at each convention, you hear some points of what their party platform is going to be. The Republicans elected this year not to do a party platform at their convention, which was quite interesting. The Democrats ran on health care and ran on criminal justice reform. That was part of their platform. As it was one more, and I'm drawing a blank right now. After the election, the legislative branch is formed. Excuse me. If the House maintains a Democratic majority, then Nancy Pelosi will remain probably the Speaker of the House. If the Senate is flipped and it becomes Democratic, then that means Mitch McConnell will no longer be the majority leader, the Senate majority leader. He'll become the minority leader. I hope he's not in Congress at all and gets voted out, but that's just my own personal opinion. But the party in power and the party that has the most in the House determines the House leadership. Once again, as you know, the executive branch, the president makes appointments and the Senate approves those appointments. And then on the judicial branch, it is supposed to be nonpartisan. However, as I stated, it's not. And the third party role, this is something that happens a lot in the primary section. When we're in the primaries, is the third parties come in and they can have some influence on where the majority of the party wants to go. So like there is a lot of talk about Bernie Sanders and his progressive movement and whether or not he's gonna have any major influence on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris if they do win. How will the independent and the progressives have an impact on the presidency? And so during the primary, you'll hear some things come up. And even at the convention, you would have noticed, if you pay attention like I do, that some of the things that were part of the platform were things that the progressives may have been talking about during their primary season. They've never won a major election in terms of coming out of a primary and winning the nomination. They've never won a presidential election. You have Green Party, you have the Reform Party, you have Libertarians. There's a host of different parties that play into the third party role. Some would say that the Tea Party was a third party, but I'm not sure I would call them a third party because on the ballot, it didn't say Tea Party. It still said Republican. So they were Republicans when it came to how they were enumerated on our voting ballots. There was no distinction whether or not they was a Tea Party Republican or a regular Republican. And so they were able to infiltrate their own party and create some of the chaos that we're probably dealing with right now. So campaign and voting is very important. If you have not early voted, you have until 7 p.m. tonight to do so. If not, the polls open on Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. and they close at 7 p.m. This year, you are still allowed to vote anywhere. If you live in Dallas County, you can vote anywhere in the county. It does not have to be your local polling place. Eastfield College is a polling place. So if you live close to Eastfield and you haven't voted, you can go there and vote. There's churches. I believe the American Airlines Center is going to be open on Election Day as well. as to act as a voting place in case people did not have an opportunity to do it in these last 3 weeks. So we are at the end of an election cycle. We will either know Tuesday or we won't. Some are predicting that we won't know on Tuesday night, and that what we get from the commentators on TV will just be a guess. They won't know for sure as to whether or not Trump was reelected or he was not. So we'll see. But either way, come January 2021, we will have either a new president and a new administration, or we'll have the same president and the same administration. And the lives for some of us will be greatly impacted by that on a whole host of areas. And so I am concerned as a Black woman in America, raising a Black child, a Black male child, about the trajectory of our nation and the very thread of our democracy that is being challenged on a daily basis. So I am concerned, and I would be concerned whoever was in office making these decisions and basically violating the things that we said, which made us different from any other nation. So voting is important. I hope you did it. If you haven't, I hope you will. And this concludes our review of chapters 7, 8, and 9. Thank you.